Welcome to Patscast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast. This is our episode for March the 11th, 2021. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Kevin.
And well, folks, the day has come. It is the WHL East Division Eve, we'll call it that. So the abbreviated, we'll call it 2021 season is starting up tomorrow. And oddly enough, recording day of this is March 11th, and it's exactly 1 year to the day that the Pats played their last game, and they were shut down due to, of course, COVID-19. Yeah, here we are, guys. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about all this?
Good.
I'm happy there's hockey.
Absolutely. It's, boy, well, I mean, we can all talk about the year we've had, but I didn't think this day was going to come. I think Chris and I, we had that one episode in, did we do it in the summer? When was it? And
it was in the summer.
We gave it a pretty small chance of this happening. I think we were both around 99% of not coming together.
Yeah. For them to do this style of play, I don't know if this was really on our mind that they wouldn't, they'd only play in division, stuff like that. I don't think we even thought of that back then, right?
No, hey, I think I'm on the record of saying least divisional or provincial breakups. I thought that was a possibility. That was my one long shot. So I swear I'm on the record saying that. Not that I'm counting or anything. Anyway, so it sounds like the Pats maybe put a little bit of the legwork into this coming together. So let's. They've done a lot of work to get this going. They were rewarded. Is it a reward to be the hub city, do you think? Is there any advantage?
I guess so. I don't know. I mean, the Pats did put, sounds like a lot of the legwork in with Curtis Hunt from PA. Mm-hmm. Sounds like they did, the yeoman's work to get this kind of on the go. So,
yeah.
And Regina makes most of the sense because it's the centralized location and everybody doesn't have to travel that far. The university's got a lot of places for the players to stay and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, logistically, it makes the most sense, and it's awesome that it's come together. And of course, as is tradition, we have Kevin Shaw on as a special guest this week. Kevin usually comes on at the start of the season, and this is the start of this season. And Kevin, why don't you just give us a little update as to what you've been up to over the last couple months in terms of what you've taken on with Dub Network?
Yeah, I've taken over doing the beat writing for the Regina Pats, and it's finally time to actually write about some games, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, Dub Network's done a good job filling the void and the itch. Tough to do without a lot of games, but the news lately has been lots of excitement, so some stuff to write about there. And Dub Networks really seems to be kind of taking some nice steps and strides and becoming a bit of a media conglomerate for WHL news, and picked up some really big names going into this year, and it'll be good, and then hopefully continued success throughout into next season too.
Yeah, definitely. They kind of had a little bit of a shutdown after last season. I think maybe Paul got a little discouraged by what happened, but yeah. There's some new blood in there, and I think we all hope that they do well. And it's up to the Kevins and stuff to put out the good content that that people can do, right? So,
absolutely. All right, well, let's get into the meat of the topics today. Let's look at the Pats. Let's go through their roster. So we can talk a lot about the hype with Connor Bedard, and he's starting to dominate the mainstream media headlines already. You can see, of course, deservedly so, number one pick, first player with exceptional status. I think it's just, I don't know, almost a bonus now this year that I had personally written it off that we get to see him play, not in person, but at least on TV. Lots of articles coming out. I don't know if you saw the tweet of this short clip Pats put out of him, of that shot he did. It was brief. It was only a few seconds, but I think I watched it about 17 times in a row, and it was just an awe. It's some. I think it's gonna be something to see. Yeah, how you guys feeling about him?
I can't wait to see him play.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. There's tons of hype, and there's lots of pressure on him, and it's tough. It's tough. I'm sure it's tough on him. Like that's got to be heavy on him. But he sounds like he's played with a lot of pressure the last few years, always playing up in age group and stuff. So, this is the next level. But it sounds like he's a guy that can handle it.
it seems like it. Yeah, and if we have to find a silver lining to this, it's maybe there's not as much pressure now. I don't know. It's 24 games. If he doesn't excel to maybe the level, and there'd always be people to say, well, it's this abbreviated season, kind of a funny season, that if he doesn't, live up to the exceptional hype that people have now placed on him, maybe that's a little bit of a silver lining to this. And he got to grow and get a little bit older. A few extra months is a lot when you're only 15 years old. So yeah, no, it's certainly exciting, but there's a whole other team to look at here too. Any overall impressions, Kevin, on the roster you want to talk about?
It's seems like it's going to be a pretty young team. It's got a lot of rookies, a lot of raw rookies like Braxton Whitehead and Easton Armstrong, Colby Watton. Don't know much about them.
Yeah.
Massey is returning after missing pretty much all of last season, which will be good for him. Same with Brooke.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to see those guys in there.
Yeah.
And there's 9 defensemen, which is a lot of defensemen for 24 games.
And yeah, the thing with the defensemen too, you look at it, you got Walker, he's a veteran, and you got Evans, he's a veteran. And then there's a lot of inexperience there. Like Tom Cadeau, I don't have the numbers offhand, but how many games has he played in the league?
I don't know off the top of my head.
96.
Yeah. 96. Okay, so he's got a full season, right?
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
So then you got Johnson as full season, and then you got all these young rookies, and that's kind of what. Go
Mitchell
ahead.
two half seasons for Mitchell.
Yeah, 2 half seasons. Yeah, and that's the thing. You're gonna have to use these young guys with this tight schedule, with having 24 games in 48 days. Your depth is really gonna show. Is gonna come out, right?
Absolutely. When we're talking about 24 games, it's 24 games in how many days? It's 6 weeks plus a couple days. So it's tight, it's fast, and an injury that takes out could be it. Like if it's a few weeks, that's half your season gone, and it would normally be a fairly insignificant time frame in a normal season. But here, if you're out for 2 to 3 weeks, that's a lot, right? So you're going to be relying on these young guys this year. Some of them, excited to see like Leighton Feist getting in.
Yeah, and you look at like the younger guys, like you got, say, Cole Carrier, Stanek, Armstrong. Like other than Armstrong, the other guys got some experience. Like it's not like a fourth line, say, of absolute raw rookies on the forward group. Like most of these guys have experience, other than your Wattons and Whiteheads and Armstrong. So your regular lineup is going to have some decent experience on the forward end.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a little better than it has been on the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I agree. So maybe notable absence, we mentioned it last episode too, is just, of course, set off no international, like Russian players or European players. I don't think any probably got over.
Sounds like the U.S. teams have them available to them.
Oh, okay. But no Canadian teams. It's nice to see. I was a little leery. I didn't know if the U.S. players would get in or not.
Yeah, it sounds like most of them have dual citizenship. Do they not, Kevin?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, though, but I believe so.
Yeah, like I think Johnson does. Whitehead does. Just off the top of my head, but yeah. So
okay.
I wonder. you know, the goaltending situation.
Yeah.
You know, you got Ross, like, and Kevin addressed this in his goalie kind of preview on Dub Network. Okay, you got Ross, but you got two inexperienced goaltenders behind him.
Yep.
And how much do you want to bring them along, or how much do you want to ride Ross and try to win? And clearly, winning is on their mind. Like Dave Struch said, it's time to win now,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, what do you think, Kevin?
Oh, that's why I didn't write anything about it specifically, because I'm thinking Ross is going to be playing probably 18 to 20 of the 24 games. That's what I'm thinking. Because like what you said, Struch wants to win now.
Yeah,
And
and we've seen them ride their veterans heavy in the last couple of years, right?
oh yeah, for sure.
So are you alluding to what are you winning for? Is that what you're saying? Like, what are you winning? Even if you went 24-0. So are you saying
that
maybe it'd be a good idea to think about the future a little bit?
I wouldn't mind seeing a little more
Yeah.
of the younger guys, right? But
Yeah.
I'm not the coach either,
Yeah.
right? So, and you can't take anything away from them trying to win. You know,
Exactly.
it is, yeah, you're not playing for quote unquote anything this year, but guys are still going to go out, drop the pucks. Guys are still going to play hard,
Yeah.
wanting to win no matter what, right? So,
I mean, that
Sure,
being
yeah.
said, is it like they haven't said that there's no playoffs, have they?
they haven't ruled it out.
And I read, I think it's the Q hasn't said when their season's ending because there hasn't been a Memorial Cup decision yet either. So I mean, that stuff's not off the table, right? Anything's possible now, in my opinion. If they can get this going and get through this, and all the three leagues can get going and get done, who knows? Who knows, right?
But how late do you push it into next, like, that interferes with next season?
Yeah, I know.
But they've shown they can start late. They can always start it later on in the year. Instead of September, they can start October or November.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to be 60 plus games. It could be a 50 game schedule. You never know,
Next
right?
year. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's tough. You're right. I mean, you brought in Ross though with the intent for a full season, and I mean that's a coaching and leadership decision though. Do you just kind of write off this season, or do you go and you win? And I mean, building a winning culture, you have to win, right?
And that's, I don't know if you listened to the press conferences that the preseason ones there, but Struch alluded to that. Like, you know, winning is building a culture, you know, and building, you know, how, you know, to build this team up, right? We got to get back to winning.
Yeah.
So, and there's also one other factor, like the NHL, like Philadelphia will have a say. Like, you know, if he's not playing, Philadelphia will call down and say what's going on, right?
Right. Yeah. That's always the other untold side of things, right? Other pressures
Because
going
the teams do pay, you know, the CHL teams money. NHL teams pay CHL teams money, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's that development fee, so can't bite the hand that feeds you either.
Sure.
Especially in these times.
So we'll use that segue. Speaking of the culture and developing winning culture, so the leadership team was just recently announced for the Pats. So Nyhoff taking the C. It seems like we put up a poll, and that was was it overwhelming favorite?
Yeah, I think it was like 40% Nyhoff.
Yeah, and it would have been the person I would have selected too. Of course, he spent his whole career here thus far with the Pats, and he's been a character on the team, very noticeable anytime he's on the ice, and just his characteristics and some of his actions. And obviously we don't get to always see what's going on behind the scenes and in the dressing room, but obviously a guy that they felt deserved it. And then to see Kyle Walker, Riker Evans with the alternate, and then it looks like they'll have a third alternate that rotates between Carson Denemy and Drew Englot, and they'll switch on home and away games. I don't know. That's a really solid group there that I don't think many people could argue with. I'm happy with that. I don't know, a lot of controversy to talk about with that. Any insights from you?
I like Nyhoff being the captain. It gives him a chance for 24 games to get ready for a full season next year, because more than likely he'll be back.
Uh-huh.
He might get a pro opportunity, you never know, but more than likely he'll be back, and it gives him a chance to
absolutely
carry it on for two seasons or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, multi-season captain, right?
Yeah. I think there was some maybe comments that Kyle Walker would have been good, and he would have been excellent too. Don't get me wrong, but I think I really like your idea too, is just being able to have someone as a multi-season rather than someone that's going to age out.
And I'm not surprised that he was picked. I did an article on him last season, and Dave had such high praise for Nyhoff, so I'm not surprised at all that he was picked. And Evans and Englot, I had those guys in the back of my mind. There was a kind of discussion on the Facebook group, and I didn't write it down, but I should have, and I would have, looked like a smart guy. But I just kind of had those two guys in the back of my mind. They won a Telus Cup and midget and stuff, so there's some guys that have done some winning.
Right. Yeah. So congratulations to Logan Nyhoff. He was our pizza delivery boy one year with Western Pizza.
Right? Yeah.
So that was awesome. Again, another kind of leadership discussion is about the Pats in general. It seems like there's some little bit of changes maybe in coming with the ownership part of the Regina Pats. So started off, when was this Queen City group originally, when did they originally come into play?
2014.
2014. And so it was a group of originally four or five
people?
Five. And now whittled down to, and eventually now these Semples, of course, the owners of Brant Industries, look like they want to be the sole owners. So it's not Jack Semple, that's the musician, right?
Yeah, it is.
Sean and Gavin.
They want to be the sole owners of the Regina Pats. They've brought I don't know how much they're involved in the success, but they've brought in the pieces to create success lately with the Pats and the coaching group and management and whatnot. And of course, we're a big part of getting the Memorial Cup here. They want a winning team, and
it kind of came as a surprise to me, but anything is possible nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think any of those gentlemen were the last season, and maybe the income that they lost was going to break them or anything. I don't think it has much to do financially. Maybe just, I don't know, interest, or just lost interest and just wanted to move on to different things. I don't know. Or maybe the Semples were really interested in taking over and having that control. Who knows, right? I don't see it as a negative thing for the Pats.
No, not at all. One other thing I was thinking of, there has been some other changes staff-wise. Maybe that leads us into our next segue into our next topic.
Yeah.
There's been, like we talked about before, a lot of departures from these last few years where we had lots of success with this team. So that'll be interesting with these replacements, how that kind of flows.
Yeah, there was some, unfortunately, I think just COVID-related shutdown departures. It just wasn't the work necessarily for them anymore. One maybe positive or nice one that we do get back is Phil the Thrill back on the play-by-play call for radio, as well as your CHL TV broadcast should have Phil coming in for your play-by-play.
What I think is happening is just the home. You just get the home audio. So if it's an away game, I don't think you'll get Phil. I'm not 100% sure on that, but on the Alberta games, that's what it is.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
There's only one broadcast team, I believe. But there's the other option.
There is the other option. So that leads us to Access Communications playing 22 of the 24 games, did you say, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the old voice of the Pats, Rod Peterson, and his partner from the Rod Peterson Show and DuPont Media, Darren DuPont, covering on Access Communications. So awesome of Access to be part of the community like that. They've been a longtime supporter of the Pats, and to provide that much coverage this year and have excellent coverage and play-by-play and color commentary with that team is just an awesome job by them. Super impressed that they did that. So yeah, even if you're not gonna put up the money for the CHL TV coverage, if you have access, you'll get 22 out of the 24 games, which is just awesome. I think that's awesome of Access. Now that being said, the CHL TV app is fairly reasonable this year. I was really pretty impressed. So if you're not a season ticket holder, each team did some different promos, but for the Pats, it's would it ended up being $25 for the CHL pass, and that's not just for the Pats. Then that's all.
Yeah,
WHL
the whole
or
league.
CHL? Is it all CHL?
No, just the WHL.
WHL. So yeah, you can watch any WHL games for $25 if you were a season ticket holder, and if you weren't, it was $60. So that's pretty reasonable, I think. Seems to have come together fairly good. Watching some of the central teams, the coverage seems to be good. They started off with just iOS, and then within a little while, though, they had the Android portion out, and it seems to be working good. You guys had any experience with it?
I haven't used the app, but I watched a couple games online, and it was pretty good. Some of the games were pretty bright. You couldn't really see the lines and the puck very well at times, but
okay.
It's in some of those little rinks that aren't well lit and stuff. So they probably just weren't adjusted to the light.
Yeah.
Yeah, that first weekend, the one game, was pretty bright, and it didn't work on Android, but I had no problems working on my laptop and stuff. So I think last weekend, I didn't watch a lot last weekend, but it when I did check in, it seemed to work fine on my phone. So
I think they're taking
looks like they got that figured out.
I think they're taking it quite serious because even I think it was the Saturday or the Sunday they tweeted, sorry, it wasn't living up to our standards. They within a day were responding to it not being the best experience on opening night, I think, for the Central Division. Because I think they know this is their bread. They need this, and this has to work. Not every team has Access Communications covering almost every game.
Yeah.
And so obviously they understand that they need a well-functioning app and at a accessible price point.
And it sounds like the money you pay is going directly to the team. It's not going to Verizon and then getting doled out to the teams. Whatever your team sells is kind of what the team gets.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Another reason just to put that $60 or $25 into supporting them. I know there was an opportunity you could get was it a full refund for your season tickets? Or portion?
I think so. It was either refund or just push to next season, right?
Yeah. And the deadline's tomorrow. So.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I got a reminder email earlier today saying the deadline's tomorrow. So.
Yeah, and if you bought tickets for this year and they're bought and paid for, you may as well just push it to next year, and it very well could increase in price next year. And if you bought them for Bedard, then he's still going to be there. So, yeah, you may as well. Yeah, if you're going to get them next year, just keep them, and in case prices go up, at least you get one season at this price that you paid this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised at all if the prices go up next year. I mean, we have a pretty cheap ticket here in town.
We do, absolutely. East Division's kicking off tomorrow. We've had the Central Division going for a little while now, and some good news. I was going to say positive news, but we don't want positive sometimes in this case. There hasn't been any COVID positives from what I can hear in all the tests that WHL has done so far. So good on the Central Division so far, keeping it clean and out of the headlines, and Of course, they're not doing the hubble, is what they're calling this. Hey, it's a hub bubble. So they are still traveling to each city, and so whatever they're doing it right, and hopefully being in this Hubble model is even more successful. I'm just worried. I hope they're behaving themselves in residence in the university, because I mean that's tight quarters, right? It can, if something spread, it can spread pretty quickly. So
Yeah,
hopefully they're taking this serious. I think they are.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like you got to wear your mask if you're out of your room, right? So,
Okay.
when we think about it, if somehow you get it, it's you shut your team down for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And that just kills not only it kills your whole team. So you
Yeah.
don't want to be that guy, right?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, in Alberta, it's interesting because they got a whole bunch of different situations. Like Lethbridge is staying in dorms near the rink. I don't know what Medicine Hat's doing, but Calgary's a hotel. They're playing out of a different rink, not the Saddle Dome. They kind of got the boot there. And then Edmonton's billeting like normal, and so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So.
And Red Deer's living at the rink.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Red Deers were living at the rink, right? Forgot about that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if that must be getting old by now. It's been a couple.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It looks way more. I think those suites are a little nicer than the dorms.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe you're right. Yeah, yeah.
And you can play video games on the and the Videotron and everything.
Maybe it was like a 17, 18-year-old kid. Yeah, you'd make the best of it. They're probably doing okay.
Yeah, I know. Riker Evans in a couple of the interviews, he's like, yeah, he's at Notre Dame for a couple of seasons, so he's like, this is old news to me. I'm used to this kind of stuff.
Right.
So,
right.
He doesn't mind it.
So the other division, so Central's going. BC just recently had some discussions. They're going to do a dual city hubble between Kelowna and Kamloops, kicking off March 26th. The USA division, March 17th. I don't know. Hasn't been a lot of articles about the US division. Last I was reading, Portland didn't know exactly where they were going to be playing. Has that been settled? Do you know?
I haven't heard.
Yeah, it was a bunch of news and then not a lot lately.
I heard that they're going to be in Seattle of some sort.
Okay.
I don't know if maybe they're playing out of Kent and practicing in Seattle. Something like that is what I heard, but don't quote me on that. And it could have changed since I heard like that. So, because I haven't heard anything about Oregon approving play. So
yeah,
that's what it sounds like. It's going to be in Washington. They're in Washington either way, by the sounds of it. So, what their situation is in Washington, I'm not 100% sure on.
All right, sounds reasonable. It sounds about right from the last articles I read too. And of course, then we're kicking off March 12th. So every division has a plan to get going, and we'll see how it all plays out. We will see. Let's get into some predictions. The old tradition of predictions. So let's start off with record. Kevin, what do you think after 24 games the Pats' record will be?
Ooh, It depends on how they go. I'll say they'll have 15 wins at the end of the season.
All right, so a little bit over 500.
Yeah, I'll go with 15 wins. I don't know what the other part will be, but I'll go with 15 wins.
Yeah, 15 wins and some losses, maybe some overtime losses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty good. So you think about middle of the pack? You think that's where they'll end up?
Yeah, probably around third, give or take.
Yeah. Who do you think's got the division?
Oh, geez.
I think it's between PA and Brandon, maybe.
I think it's between PA and Winnipeg.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Winnipeg was coming. They were playing well last year, yeah.
Yeah, Winnipeg really looked good last year.
Yeah, I agree. I think PA and Winnipeg for sure.
Okay.
The top two.
Okay. I'm gonna guess you picked 15 wins. I don't know. You don't have any home ice advantage. Do you think there's none?
No.
No, nothing.
No.
Everyone, there's no travel. There's nothing. I don't know. That 14-ish, 500. I think is where we're gonna. Because I think Swift's gonna suck. Moose Jaw will probably be not so good. We'll battle between Saskatoon, Brandon's kind of split games with them.
Yeah, I was thinking right
Kind
at the
of a-
500, like 12,
yeah.
13 wins. So
Yeah, I
I
think-
don't want to be the downer in the group, but we got 15
No.
and 14 picked. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we're all
whatever.
kind of on the
Right
same
now-
page there.
just glance at the schedule. Like I was putting it in my phone, so I kind of have it, and it's
Yeah.
like they get Swift Current Moose Jaw back to back all the time. So maybe that's they get some rest going into those other games. So that might
Harder.
be kind of a thing. And it's gonna be such a crapshoot, right? Because
Yeah.
these games are gonna be so tight, and teams are gonna be tired. Everybody's playing in the same or in the even playing field, right?
Yeah. it
Nobody's
is-
gonna have big breaks before some of these games. You're
No.
literally playing every other day for
Yeah.
all teams.
Yeah, you're not. I thought, when you're talking about the schedule, when we looked at the Central Division, it's more like Friday, Saturdays, right? But this is like
Yeah.
Friday, Tuesdays, Saturday. There's games all over the place. There's no big breaks. They're not. Doesn't seem like they're trying to keep the teams together. And then if there's a little outbreak, I should say, they'll be able to kind of isolate a couple teams away. Like it's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's
that all the
mixed up.
teams are all in one, right? Like they're all together, kind of thing. They're
One-
doing the same thing, so they
One
kinda
goes
expect it.
down. Yeah, and it's gonna be a bit of a war of attrition too. Who can stay healthy and both physically and mentally, and just keep at it for these 6 weeks and get their nose to the grindstone? Who's ready? Who's ready now?
Yeah.
Like there's no preseason. It is game on day one. No lulling into the season. Every game counts for 3 regular, right? So
Yeah, and like they have 7 practices. They were allotted 7 practices from the league.
Yeah.
And then the Pats did pick up 3 additional practices, so they had 3 days this past week here with 2 practices.
okay.
So, yeah, and like I said before, that depth is going to show like who's got some depth they have guys that can step up and fill some roles, right?
Yeah.
With some of these rookies stepping in because everybody's bringing a bigger roster than normal. So,
I mean, it's kind of going to that goaltender situation too. Do you, same idea? Do you try and preserve people, or do you just go hard for those 24 games? And I don't know.
I mean, there is like what did I say about 3 games in 4 days kind of thing. When I broke down that
Yeah.
schedule in that tweet, so
It's gonna be a bit of a
it's
money ball or chess match stuff. Hey, like, yeah. Do you?
yeah, because you can't play the same guys the whole time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That'll be tough.
okay, well, we got Swift Current. Well, we can slide in a couple rookies that if we don't, necessarily have to, but we can,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And maybe the PAs in Winnipeg, you'll put your your regular roster out that you would in a normal game.
Yeah, but those Swift games are the games you need to win too.
That too, right? So
I don't know. That's tough. Yeah, well.
yeah,
that's
it's
for
a
the
lot
coach
of
to
like
figure
you
out.
said, chess match.
I could see teams playing the same roster all 24 games
You think so?
because there's no travel. There's no 3 games in 3 days.
Yeah.
There may be 3 and 4, whatever it is.
Yeah, there's a
Like-
bunch of 3 and 4s.
But there's no 3 and 3s. There's no big travel.
Yeah.
All you
Yeah,
do is you
that's
get out on
true.
the bus, go back to the dorm, and come back
And
and forth. That's
They're kids.
Yeah,
some of
not
these
as-
guys. Some of these guys played a lot of hockey when they were midget and stuff. So
True.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be one.
we get
It'll be certainly an interesting narrative just to keep an eye on throughout the season. Yeah. So predictions: top scorer. I was thinking Denemy actually might follow up his. He had a 50-point season last year. I was looking. I could see him being Pat's top scorer.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. He's got
I'm going to
the
go out on a limb and say Bedard.
Are you? You're gonna
Okay.
do that?
I am predicting Bedard's going to lead the team in scoring.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I
mean,
mean, I'd love to see it.
Other than that, who do you pick? Like, you look
Yeah, I
at
know.
Nyhoff, Chorney, maybe Dubinsky breaks out in Engelot, but
Jacob Brook.
Brooke,
Yeah.
like none of these guys have put up big points yet in their careers, so
Because
it's
a
not.
lot of our goals graduated and got traded. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
when you lose 20 from Pratt and 19 from Holmes, and you lose Winnick on defense with the whatever 50
Yeah.
points or whatever he
Yeah.
had,
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, exactly.
it's
So
they're gonna have to try to find goals somewhere. And where else would you find them?
you mentioned
Denemy, throw in Bedard.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You
I
mentioned
I don't see him being out of the top three. I don't think.
Bedard.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's yeah, absolutely. I think that's fair.
He's gonna get every opportunity too. So
oh yeah.
I wouldn't be
Like
surprised if he's up there.
he'll be on PP1 and everything, right? Like you can't deny that talent. Like he's played up. Like he crushed, the midget league that he was in last year,
Yeah.
being an underager, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like he may not, put up amazing numbers, but he'll put up numbers.
You mentioned Baruch. He's kind of my dark horse, maybe surprise. Not that he's a surprise. I think we didn't necessarily get to see his talent last year. He came over with the injury from PA. We got a few weeks to see him, and no, I think he may just be a little bit of a surprise, maybe under the radar, just because we didn't get to really know him that well. I could see him playing pretty well, so I think I pick him as my dark horse breakout player of the year.
I'd say Dubinsky. I know I seen an interview or read one with Greg Harder there. He really went hard in this winter. He had an outdoor rink he was on quite a bit, so he was putting in the work. So hope to see that come to fruition, because you see he's got those glimpses of talent. He just hasn't been able to put it together yet.
I think everyone hopes for that.
Cool. I'm going to go with Cole Carrier for a dark horse.
Okay.
In his short little time that he had, he was 18 games or whatever he played. He did pretty good. Six points, playing limited minutes, and then he finally got a chance. And hey, I wouldn't put anything past him. He's got the skills there.
Yeah, and like I said before, with this roster, there's skill all the way down the lineup, right? You don't have the third, fourth line where a couple years ago it was just like, just guys out there filling minutes, right? There's some skill all the way down this lineup. You look at the Armstrong, it sounds like he's got some skill too. Whether or not he can produce this year is a question, but at least there's potential there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all have potential. They just need to produce.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, we've rambled on here for a while.
No, I think we covered most of it.
Yeah.
Just looking forward to the puck dropping tomorrow.
It is. It's kind of surreal. It's kind of surreal. I've been busy these last few weeks, and all of a sudden, this day's here, and super pumped. It's going to go by fast, though, unfortunately. 6 weeks are just going to fly by. It's a lot of hockey in a short time frame, but we're going to try and enjoy every single second of it. It's kind of not taking anything for granted now.
No, that's for sure. And yeah, it'd be nice to sit down and watch some hockey. I didn't get into the NHL. I haven't watched any of that really at all. So I'm just waiting for this.
It'd be nice to be able to do it together sometime again, but we'll just have to rely on our weekly podcast, touch base and whatnot. But okay, let's wrap it up. Let's.
I think we'll have to have Kevin on a little more now that he's doing the Dub Network thing. He's got the media access.
Absolutely. Bring that aspect
so that'll
in.
That'll
Sounds
help.
good.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, and the Pets have granted us some media access as well, even though I'm not with Dub Network anymore, and that's I got to say thanks to them for that as well, so we can continue getting given even better coverage than we could without it, right?
Right on. Okay, thanks to the Pats for getting this season together and all the work they did in the background, the leadership group there. And thank you for Kevin for coming on. Check out Kevin on Twitter at the Blue Liner. Is that still what it is, Kevin?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. And of course, check out Dub Network and his articles as well as all the others. And if you're not watching on Access, get your subscription on CHL TV. If you're not following us, follow us on the socials, is what the kids say, but mostly on Twitter at WHL Patscast is where we're most active. Yeah, we look forward to this season. Look forward to talking to you guys throughout the year. Well, not the year, the months, we should say, the weeks. And we'll see how this all plays out. But for now, let's just enjoy it and enjoy the game tomorrow, everyone. Good night.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.